we got an X mark, making a pretty good puddle underneath, and it was covered in grime, which I'll show you. Here at Harkins Equipment, we don't use Photoshop. We use real live stuff. So here's your transaxles. I'm trying to give you the best view possible. Yeah, okay, hold on, let me zoom out. There we go. That looks like a zoom in to me. Hold on, let's go ultra wide here. Perfect, okay. So you got one transaxle here and one over here. And yes, I'm safe. I have my floor jacks and a winch above me. But this guy was making a heck of a puddle, and I've cleaned around everywhere else. Nothing wet is coming down from the top sides anywhere. No leaky from the pump. Of course, we got a broken bolt there, but that's not causing the leak. No leak from the filter. Housing, where it's split and sealed, seems to be dry. But before I wipe this, you can see how wet it is around this lower cover here. And Hydro Gear calls that the charge pump, and underneath that charge pump there's an O-ring seal where that plate comes down. There's a couple tubes and things of that nature, and it is orientation specific according to the schematic. So I'll make sure that I mark this, I clock this to where it's going to be put back on the same orientation. It's not 180. Supposed to be a flat side on here somewhere. Anyway, so I'm going to clean these up a little bit. That way I can remove these charge pumps, and of course the system is going to drain, which I've got drain plugs somewhere, but it's okay. It's got to come off. To reseal this and replace the O-ring that I'm sure is just deteriorated over time, age, heat, all that good stuff. So that's what we're going to do. We'll clean this up a little bit, and then we're going to drain and replace the O-rings. He's not experiencing any pressure issues or volume issues, just an external leak. So that's it. We're not looking at any performance problems other than cavitating because this right drive here has leaked down so much to where it's just low, or the left one. This is the one that was making a puddle. Either way, they're both leaking, but this is the only one making a puddle right now. This one's jealous, so it's trying to do the same thing. So we're gonna do both of them. Try to get some of this cleaner soaked into some of that gunk. So there's after and before. So I'm gonna clean the rest of this up a little bit before I remove this. All right, so I've got them. It's foggy. It's because it is foggy. Yeah, I have a GoPro, but I don't want to get it all nasty. And I have a case, but when I have a case on, it records really crappy. It's frustrating. So that's all cleaned up. All around here. When I take this off of here, it's not going to be an explosion. There's no screens. There's nothing. No valve assemblies are going to explode in my face. This will just pop out. It'll have an O-ring where it seats with the housing. But whenever I pop this, it's going to drain all the fluid out, which is fine because we're doing a service on this thing anyway. Wasn't going to. That's not what was here for the leak, but I'm going to lose all my fluid taking this out. And it's just like, you know, hey, if you're that far along, you're that invested, you're already refilling both of these transaxles with fluid. The fluid's it's not the cheapest thing out there, so you're already invested in the fluid, which is just 20W50 full synthetic in these. Why not just do filters? And honestly, that's just kind of, you know, that's my way. Hey, if I'm gonna put my name on this, I'm gonna do filters and oil. At the end of the day, it's the customer's decision. I only do what they're willing to pay for. And if they don't want to go with the full service, then if something happens, it's not on me. But if they go through with what I recommend, then I'll stand behind it because I know it's a good repair. So I'm gonna get these off of here and see what happens. So I might not catch all of this on camera, but I'll get as much of it as I can. Looks like 10 millimeter, like everything else. Really? Mark it in the history books, 3/8 standard. I think Miss Frizzle said it best. Take chances, make mistakes, get messy. Well, it's about to get messy. We'll see. Ain't no party. What do I do with the socket? Stupid. A little dimple towards the middle. We're just gonna keep that in mind. I'm gonna get these. Yep, and there comes the fluid. And now we wait because it's only like 50 degrees out, and this oil is, by the power of movie magic, we're gonna skip to the end. Alrighty, here we go. Let's see what we got under here. Lord, we pray that nothing goes crazy. Cool. Awesome. Alright, what you can see here, this is what they call your charge pump. So this is actually what moves your fluid in there. So you got a 4-point gear inside of a 5-point area. That's how it works. It's going to suck fluid from one side and it moves the fluid around through the cavity in this gear as it rotates in this shaft. And this outer piece also moves, so both of these move together, rotating to pump fluid from one side to the next. So that's cool. This big O-ring right here is our big leak problem. So we're gonna go replace this O-ring, clean this surface, and reinstall, and that should take care of our leak. All right, so here's our charge pump as she sits. This is our troubled O-ring. I mean, really, it bottoms out in the casting the way it's made, so just over time these shrink. So now what we're gonna do is see if we can find a matchup in this kit here. Yeah, this O-ring's pretty flat when you look at it. I know some O-rings are designed, if you were to cut this, if you were to slice this and look at it, some of them are square shaped and some of them are round. This was definitely a round one, but has just flattened over time of being seated and heat and age. Just got it to the point to where it no longer seals very well. We're going to do this to both sides. It's just currently I'm working on this side here. So let's see what we got here. Let's go with our standard size. These things open when you don't want them to, and then when you want them to, they're a pain. God help me. Thank you. There we go. Come on, let's get somewhere. Thanks. You're awesome. I appreciate you. Look at that. I'll go with the obvious one here. See how that seems to be a winner right off the bat. Diameter to be a lot fatter. Might see if I can find one. Well, I should say not the diameter of the gasket itself is the right size, but the thickness seems to be a little thick. That's smaller. Okay, let's look in this kit. It seems like this metric variety I have over here, most of them have a thinner diameter. I say that, but as I'm looking at it, I think I had them backwards. I think the inch style ones have a skinnier diameter. I mean, that's not terrible. I don't want to make it too big and oversize the thing really bad to where it's not going to fit in there or seal. I definitely don't want to pinch either. I don't know if you can see how big of a difference that is. It's probably okay. I feel pretty comfortable with that actually. A little bit of oil on here. And that should. It sits up in the lip on the casing anyway. That might not be bad. Okay, that's what we're going to go for. That's our pick. You can see how this moves. My finger. Fat finger's in the way. Man, I'm trying to simulate this thing. So the shaft has a flat spot on it that makes contact, or that sits in here and drives this center spur, gear, whatever, pump. But it sits stationary, so it doesn't just float around and move. It just sits in one spot and twists. If I can find a way to simulate the motion of this, I'd feel like I did my job. So if I put this, too fat. Said that to a couple pairs of pants before. Yeah, that's small enough. So as I turn this, if I stay stationary, you see how that outer gear is turning with me? My hand's right in the way, isn't it? Yeah, Ty, your hand's right in the way. Why didn't you say something sooner? Come on, it's like Dora the Explorer. Just tell me and I can hear you. We can't see. We can't see. Pay close attention to this point right here. See how the inner gear is meshed with the outer ring of this gear? Watch. It continuously stays meshed. I'm applying pressure just to simulate the shaft not moving. So that's what it's doing. It stays on this one side. And as that cavity moves around, see how this cavity over here? It's going to take in fluid and it's going to pass it to the next chamber as this stays over here. So it's moving fluid around that gear. It doesn't work the same as your 2-gear oil pumps where oil goes around. This actually moves the fluid through that chamber that's continuously opening and closing. That's how that works. Clean this up. Now I gotta make sure that's lined back up where it needs to go. Before I put it back on. Okay. Alright, now I've got this already pre-oiled. So I'm gonna get back underneath, reinstall. Nice, good fit. I can just keep it there. Sometimes I have to use a little bit of grease to hold a gasket upside down. Might be one of those times. Let's see if I can get this thing lined up here first. That was towards, my little casting was towards the inside. So like this. And that shaft is currently here. Little rascal. It's fun, right? No, I'm not just gonna send it. I'm gonna get this in here, hold this cover, and I'm gonna look around, make sure that O-ring is seating where it's supposed to seat. I won't get in here with you. Let's see. Need more light. Oil is slippery, almost like it's meant to resist friction. It's crazy. Hard time gripping this thing. These weren't very tight to begin with, so I'm not going crazy. We're in aluminum. Just like that, we've resealed that thing. Cool. Okay, now we just gotta do the other side. Refill it with oil. Well, refill it with oil after we change the filter, but you've changed the filter before. I don't need to teach you how to do that. Lefty-loosey, righty-tighty, clean it up, oil the new one, pop it on. Don't ever tighten it, but tighten it enough. That way it's not gonna vibrate out. You don't need to hulk it on there, no thread lock, none of that good stuff. Use the right filter, use the good filter. I got Hydro Gear filters I'm putting back on here. If you wanna use Wix, go for it. Exmark, go for it. Toro, go for it. Chinese Amazon, don't go for it, all right? Get what you pay for, especially in maintenance parts. So after getting those filters changed and the rest of those charge covers closed up on both sides, what you're gonna do is there are two caps. They're like a fill cap, vent cap, but there's two caps, one on each side. If you're trying to fill these transaxles by just filling the reservoir, you're gonna be here for a long time because it's gonna have to burp and vent as it's trying to go down. So what we do is we take out these two caps, one on each side. What that allows the system to do is have a vent for fill, so that when the reservoir is trying to fill the transmissions through these lines, it doesn't have to burp through the line, and you'll see it'll be like a drip, burp, drip, burp. So you take these vents out, and I'll show you in the picture here. And by the time I got the camera to show you, they were already leaking out, and it takes a little while even to get to this point. But you take these out, and once the fluid starts weeping out of the hole, you at least know that each transaxle is full to that point where it's running out. You'll go ahead, thread those caps back in there, and then once they're tightened, then yes, the rest of the system will have to kind of burp through the reservoir, but that's enough to get you started, enough to get it hoisted in the air to where you can run it, spin the wheels, get the fluid moving. And you might get an air pocket or two, and you might be frustrated if it's not working right away. If that happens, you're just going to have to wait. If you notice that you're not getting much wheel speed out of one side, it's probably got an air pocket trapped down there in the system. You're just going to have to wait. And this is going to be a slower process if it's colder. When it's warmer, it's going to happen a lot faster because that fluid's a little bit thinner. So it is just one of those deals, man. So in this particular unit right here that this is in, so this guy here is the unit that I showed you. So this reservoir here, it's where she needs to be right now, a little bit high, because I still want to run it some more, make sure I got the bubbles out. But what I had to do with this one is run it for a little while, suspend it in the air. You can use a jack or a crane or whatever you want to do, just let the wheels spin. And after my first initial bleeding, I lost speed in one of these sides and got frustrated. I thought maybe I did something wrong, but then I realized I didn't, because I didn't do anything wrong. I just had to wait till the next day, and that reservoir probably dropped another 3 inches or so, which told me that was just more air that had burped out of that side. So once that was good and it burped out, it fired up and actually picked up speed, got the rest of the air bubbles out of there. But you might have to do that a little while, especially if you're getting this thing serviced and you run it around a little while, the fluid gets hot and gets warm. You want to check that reservoir at least the first couple times you mow or move around with this thing, just to make sure your fluid levels are still good. But I'll get back in and show you where they're leaking out of, so see how to do it. That's what we're looking for. You take out these top fill vent caps, start filling the reservoir. When she starts leaking out, you cap it, and then you continue to fill the reservoir. So I'm gonna hurry up and pop off here. Oh, I can't speak English. Well, you know, of course, it always happens that way. While I'm waiting on this to fill, I figured I'm gonna record it and talk about it. But when you're looking back at these transaxles or trans assemblies here, on each side on the very top, it's a vent cap. So on this one, it's a 1/4 inch Allen head. There's one on this side as well. When you're filling your reservoirs back up, leave them open after doing a service on it. It'll help you fill this cavity pretty quick and allows the air to escape. And as soon as they start leaking out like they're doing here, you just put them back in, make sure the O-ring's good on them, tighten them down, and then continue filling your reservoir, because if not, you'll be here all day waiting on these to fill. So you see the reservoir is right there. So this one just has one reservoir that they share, but some of them have independent, a left and a right tank. So just be smart. That'll help you get through some waiting time. And that's going to conclude our hydraulic service for today. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop some questions or some comments, and I'll give you some feedback or maybe some tips, some things to help you through the process. What I'd like to do is to get these wheels to move without me having to sit in the machine the whole entire time. You can take a bag of whatever you got, something heavy, a bag of salt, bag of wood pellets for your smoker or whatever, just something to weigh this down while you've got the wheels in the air. And that'll allow your safety switches to be happy with you. And you can just leave these in the forward or reverse position and just let these wheels just kind of keep on spinning and bleeding through the system. And you'll be able to see in the reservoir as it's running, it'll bubble here and there, but you let it sit overnight and she'll continue to bubble. And like that, you'll be finished and your hydraulic system will be serviced and it will be happy and you'll come out wiser on the other end, maybe save you some money. So I appreciate you guys. God bless and have a great day.